The engineers who invented the transformer architecture built the foundation for every modern AI tool we use today. Yet right now, the company that started the race is struggling to maintain its lead. Looking at Google's headquarters, it's easy to wonder what exactly is going on inside. For months, the public conversation around their AI development has been remarkably quiet. While their competitors dominate the news cycle with constant updates, Google has left a noticeable vacuum. This silence poses a genuine question. It implies that the tech giant might be losing its grip on the industry it helped create. Since December, Google's release schedule has been sparse. They pushed out Gemini 3.1 Pro back in February and followed it up with the lightweight Gemini 3 Flash. But their major multimodal updates have seemingly stalled. This chart shows what they're up against. OpenAI pushed versions 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6 in that same window. The gap widens, adding Anthropic, who packed Opus 4.8, Fable 5, and Sonnet 5 into a tiny time frame. But the issue is what these models can actually do. Google is noticeably absent from the complex coding and agentic benchmarks that measure a system's ability to act autonomously. High-level coding capability is the current standard for proving a frontier model's worth. By sitting out of those specific tests, Google looks increasingly out of the loop. The reality of AI development is that a single model excelling at absolutely everything no longer exists. Instead, development has splintered into hyper-specialized domains. For instance, Anthropic has dedicated almost its entire architecture to dominating software development and coding benchmarks. OpenAI, meanwhile, has carved out its territory in complex mathematics and general logical reasoning. Google has historically staked its claim on multimodality, the model's ability to seamlessly understand visual inputs and real-world environments. Their lag in coding metrics doesn't inherently mean their engineers forgot how to build AI. It points to a calculated decision to pour their resources into an entirely different track. That specific track is what developers are calling Generative UI, user interfaces that the AI builds automatically based on your prompt. The system functions by automatically coding and assembling visual sliders, interactive charts, and custom front-end layouts in real time. The downside is that this approach often wastes compute time. The model frequently spends precious seconds coding elaborate graphics, when a short text answer would have been much faster and more useful. The lightweight architecture of Gemini 3.5 Flash suggests it is intended to function as a sub-agent for these UI tasks, prioritizing the speed needed for visual generation over the complex logic required by high-end coding benchmarks. This suggests Google is betting that the future of AI relies on these interactive digital experiences, opting for visual utility over raw coding performance. But that bet is about to be tested. The upcoming release of Gemini 3.5 Pro will show exactly where Google stands, and they have a massive deficit to overcome. On SWEBench Pro, Anthropic's Fable 5 sits firmly at 80%. Google has a massive void to fill just to tie. And on Terminal Bench 2.1, to rival OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol, Gemini must crack a difficult 90% threshold. Beating specialized companies at their own dedicated game requires architectural innovation. By delaying their flagship models to refine visual features, Google gave their rivals time to push the standard benchmarks to punishing new heights. However, leaks indicate Google is preparing to deploy a major advantage: a 2 million token context window. This diagram illustrates what that means for processing power. A 2 million token window doubles the capacity of Anthropic's largest models, allowing Gemini to analyze enormous datasets or process entire company codebases in a single prompt. But there's a catch. A massive context window is useless if the underlying model lacks the reasoning power to accurately understand all that data. Ultimately, Gemini 3.5 Pro will determine whether Google's focus on multimodality and scale was a viable strategy, or if it has allowed rivals to pull ahead in the metrics that currently define the industry standard.